welcome to the channel if you're new, or if you're not, I'm Alicia and I'm so glad you're here either way. You are gonna be glad you came too, because today I am sharing the best dairy-free ice cream I have ever made, or eaten actually, in my entire life. Honestly, our filming crew couldn't even believe that it was dairy-free, and they said that it was actually better than store-bought, regular, non-dairy-free ice cream. I'm not even kidding you. Get ready for your mind to be blown, because this ice cream contains no dairy, no coconut, no banana, and it's only 3 main ingredients. And it is going to be the creamiest dairy-free ice cream you've ever had, with no frozen chunks of ice. I am showing you a few different variations, the classics of course, so we've got vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, as well as how to mix in your favorites like sandwich cookies for cookies and cream, and a peppermint one as well, since it is the holiday season. So what is the trick? Well, I've got a few up my sleeve today. Well, the first is I am using Joy's almond and cashew nut bases to make the dairy-free milk. It's a shelf-stable nut base and it's so cool. It was actually created in an effort to make clean and nutritious plant-based milks more sustainable and environmentally conscious. Store-bought nut milk is going to have preservatives and other unnecessary stuff. Joy literally stands for just one ingredient. Do I need to not do the sound effect? Either cashews or almonds, and I mean the store-bought stuff is actually really watered down. It's 98% water and 2% nuts. You're not really getting that much nut goodness nutritionally. With Joy, you get up to 6 times more nut content to fully benefit from the healthy fats, protein, and fiber. That healthy fat content is going to help keep our ice cream, well, ice cream instead of just ice. So I have to thank Joy for sponsoring this video, because I would not have figured out this most delicious dairy-free ice cream or discovered the amazingness of their nut milks without them. If you want to try it out, you can use the code MINDOverMunch10 or the link in my description to get 10% off. The second trick I have up my sleeve for keeping this ice cream super duper creamy is by making a custard base using eggs, which ups the fat content so it doesn't over ice. That's usually the problem with homemade vegan ice cream, is there's not enough fat and the water content is too high, so when it freezes it gets really icy and hard. So this one is lactose and dairy free. I have shared a vegan no-churn version linked in the description. It's not icy at all. It has a slight coconut flavor because it contains coconut milk to help keep it creamy, but if you are looking for a vegan option, this no-churn version is still truly delicious. But this custard base that I'm gonna show you today is where it's at. Holy crap, I don't think it can be beat. The third trick is I am using an ice cream machine, which is going to keep the mixture moving and churning as it freezes, making it easier on you and a much more desirable texture. So let's start with our basic vanilla. I prefer vanilla bean. Before we do anything, we need our nut milk. It is ridiculous how easy this is. I'm using the Joy cashew nut base and simply adding water and Joy to a blender and letting it go. Now, when you make a regular Joy nut milk for drinking, you only need 1 or 2 tablespoons per cup of water. You get to decide how nutty you want it. And that's part of what's so awesome here, is it's customizable. So you only use what you need and you don't waste anything. Not to mention it lasts 12 to 18 months in the pantry. I added more Joy for this dairy-free ice cream because the fat content is only going to make it creamier and more delicious. Plus, it is the holidays. I mean, joy to the world. And in under a minute, you end up with a high quality, clean, instant plant-based nut milk. Not to mention it lasts 7 days in the fridge, no irritating nut milk bags required, and no pulp to toss. And it's so freaking good. It tastes like a nut milk should. But we're not drinking nut milk today. I added the Joy nut milk to the stovetop, and I'm adding vanilla bean paste and a little bit of extract. You can do either, or you can do whole vanilla beans scraped out of the pod. I prefer the taste of the pod, but the paste is easier. I prefer the taste of the pod, but the paste is easier. Sorry. I'm like reading it, I'm like, this sounds like a song. I prefer the taste of the pod, but the paste is easier. I prefer the taste of the pod, but the paste is easier. I prefer the taste of the pod, but the paste is easier and actually cheaper if you want enough vanilla to really taste it, which I do, because vanilla pods are pricey. That gets brought to a boil over medium-low. Let it take its time. It's only gonna be about 5 minutes. And at the same time, you're gonna separate out 3 eggs, the yolks from the whites, save the whites for lunch, and then add yolks to another saucepan along with sugar and salt. Whisk that up and get it integrated, waiting until your milk comes to a light boil, which you'll then turn off from the heat and start to incorporate it into the egg mixture. Now listen, pay attention, seriously, this is important. You must add the hot nut milk slowly because you got eggs in there and you don't want to scramble them. So do this a ladle at a time and whisk concurrently to integrate as well as possible. You can use a hand mixer if you're worried, but either way, just be careful because you don't want scrambled egg ice cream. Maybe you do.
I don't.
After you get a few spoonfuls in, it's then tempered and you can add the rest of the milk and mix until it's completely combined. That saucepan goes onto a heat over medium-low and just sit and stir it until it reduces to a custard. It should be like a runny pudding almost. I found that this non-dairy custard only takes 5 to 10 minutes over the stove. Remove from the heat, and now the worst part of the entire recipe, you have to wait for it to chill. You cannot churn it until it's chilled. But after a few hours or overnight if you prefer, whenever it's cold, it's ready. Make sure you chill your ice cream bowl to churn beforehand. It has to be frozen. All you do is add the custard into the machine and let it go. It's pretty fast. This dairy-free custard ice cream only takes about 12 to 15 minutes to churn, and you get a delicious, creamy, soft serve like ice cream. Holy moly, you would never know it's dairy-free. Literally, I can't describe it any better than just saying it tastes like ice cream should taste. Not like, oh, it's good for a healthy ice cream. It tastes like ice cream, for real. I was worried it would taste nutty, since it is a nut milk base, but honestly, Joy specifically manufactures this product to be neutral tasting, so it works great in this context. Way better and way more subtle than a coconut milk based ice cream. Thank goodness, finally, a dairy-free ice cream. If you want it firmer to scoop, then you want to add it to a container to freeze. I often just use a loaf pan, and then you can scoop it out easily and it's ready for a cone. Okay, so now that we have the base, we can get crazy. Just realize this easy base only requires 3 main ingredients, okay? You've got your Joy nut base, eggs, and sugar. That's it. Also, in the vanilla ice cream, I used the Joy cashew nut base, but I also tested the base and it works just as well with the almond nut base. I was worried because cashew is typically creamier from the natural fats, but the Joy almond base is high quality using the entire nut, so you don't miss out on any of the healthy, fatty goodness, so it worked perfectly as this ice cream base, just as well as the cashew. I wanted to show you that it's no different than the cashew, so we'll use it for the cookies and cream. Just blend water with your Joy nut base. For this one, I am making it even easier by adding the vanilla extract right into the blender. When making nut milk with Joy to use regularly throughout the week or whatever, you can really customize by adding your favorite flavorings and sweeteners right into the blender. So let's speed this up a bit. Again, we heat the milk, make the custard, and chill. Now this time, before you churn, crush up your sandwich cookies, and once the ice cream is nearly churned, you're gonna add them in to integrate. Holy Toledo! Mind blown. Blow my mind again in a different way, Joe. It is a smooth, sweet base with crunchy chocolate cookies strewn throughout, super rich and creamy, but because you're making it yourself, you can add as much of those cookie chunks as you want, because we all know the more chunks the better, and they never put enough in the carton, am I right? Again, freeze the ice cream longer for a firmer texture before serving. This was probably my favorite of the day. I love cookies and cream. And again, my team could not believe that this was dairy-free. Okay, the next classic is chocolate. It's just as easy, but the main difference is I'm blending water with the Joy nut base. I used organic almond here, and I'm also adding vanilla extract and cocoa powder. Get your milk heated and custard made just the same, and then you can taste it. And with the chocolate, you may want to add an extra spoon of sugar depending on how dark or sweet you like your chocolate and chocolate ice cream. Also, I did want to let you know, I tested this base with coconut sugar and no-calorie sweeteners, and it does work. But beware, the coconut sugar is brown, so it's gonna change the color of your ice cream, so it won't look like, that pretty vanilla bean. And the chocolate, though, you wouldn't be able to see it. The regular sugar, of course, is the best tasting in my opinion, but others will work if they suit your dietary preferences better. You do you. So you chill the custard and you wait. Churn it up. Oh yeah, it is rich from the base, but it's not heavy like a dark chocolate. It's rather light, but so creamy and satisfying. Even though I typically would not choose chocolate, I'm more of a white chocolate person, or really any other flavor than chocolate person, I actually really liked this. You have got to try it for yourself. For strawberry, which is personally one of my other favorite flavors when it's made with the real fruit, I used the Joy Organic Cashew Nut Base with water and vanilla extract to make my milk. Got that on the stove, made my custard just the same, and then that has to chill. At the same time, I get some strawberries into a blender with a spoon of sugar and then let that puree and just sit until the custard is ready. Or you can do it when you make the custard and then just let it sit in the fridge until you're ready to churn. The puree gets stirred into the cooled custard, and then that gets poured into the chilled ice cream machine. Now this one is gonna take about 5 minutes longer to churn because of the added puree. Say what? You end up with a delicious, natural, bright, and fresh homemade strawberry ice cream. None of that artificial flavor stuff, and trust me, you won't miss it because using the real deal gives an intense strawberry flavor. I personally like it creamy, so I did a puree. I didn't want chunks of like icy strawberries in my ice cream. Some people do like that, so you could stir in a less pureed pulsing of strawberries if you prefer. I was feeling festive since it is the holidays and decided to make a peppermint ice cream too. I made the base the same, use any Joy nut base you prefer, but I added peppermint extract to the milk along with vanilla extract. I churned up the custard, and then I added crushed candy canes or Starlight Mints, whichever. This one turns bright pink when it churns, and I thought it would be perfect as an edible gift for the holiday season. It's cool from the mint and amazingly creamy from the non-dairy goodness. So that is my dairy-free custard ice cream using the ice cream machine. It is so good, I can't even believe it. Joy's nut-based products made it possible. Joy is vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, keto, paleo, and Whole30 friendly, so it can fit into almost anyone's lifestyle. It really is so much more planet-friendly and saves money in the long run because each tub of Joy will make 7 quarts of nut milk. If you want to try it out, you can use the code MindoverMunch10 at addjoy.com or use the link in my description. As mentioned, I did create a no-churn recipe that does use coconut milk as well as Joy if you want to try it out or need it to be vegan, but this custard I think cannot be beat. Happy holidays from me to you. I hope you have a safe and delicious holiday season. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode, and remember, it's all a matter of mind over munch.